Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dink Late Night Show, also known as Dink Mishit. We have a very special guest, Ethio-Sudanese singer all the way from the US, and we are so excited to have her. She's a rising star, and we can't wait to just sit down and get into it with her, the beautiful Alemeda. How are you? Very good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. By the way, we're at a bar. This is a very historical bar. It's been around since 1959.
Wow.
Now, I know that you don't drink, so would you like some coffee?
Yes, that'd be amazing.
This is our Amin, our bartender.
Hi, nice
but
to meet you.
He makes coffee too, so two. So, Alemeda, tell us a little bit about yourself for the audience that doesn't know you and your career. You know, tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Alemeda. I'm Ethiopian, and my mom is from Ethiopia, and my dad is from Sudan. I make music, and I sing, songwrite, and produce my music. The genre that I do is primarily like, it's pop, but it's also rock music. And yeah, I currently am living in Los Angeles pursuing my music career.
Before we get into your music career, I want to know a little bit about your name, Alemeda.
Yeah.
Does it have any meaning? It's so beautiful, it's different.
I've asked my family what exactly it means, and they've told me that the original name was Lelemeda, and it was my grandfather's name, and it's like, it has Gurage origin. But I've Googled it multiple times, and I couldn't, like, I've seen more of like a Spanish or Italian translation, and it means like a beautiful walkway. But other than that, like, I'm not too familiar. My first name is, Alemeda is my last name, and my first name is Rahima, and I know that means like the most forgiving. Tell the audience a little bit about your music. When I first started doing music, I really made a habit of like trying to teach myself guitar and just making sure I do the music that I grew up listening to.
You just build a bridge, then burn it down with ease. You didn't say a thing, you let me overthink. Now you just switch up like, bitch, fuck your feelings. Of course I'm pissed off, you in New York chilling. You're so full of it, you're so full of it, full of it.
Whether I was in Ethiopia or whether I was in America, and I resonated with a lot of, rock or, just in alternative music in general. That was even country. Like I feel like that's what I kind of swayed towards mostly. And when I first started doing music, like at first I was like, let me do what everybody else is doing, because I was like, it's working for them. But I was like, one day I was just like, no, like this is music I wouldn't even listen to. So I was like, let me do something I want to do. So I learned to produce that type of music, because the label that I'm signed to right now, they're primarily known for hip hop and R&B, and there wasn't too many resources of like rock, so I had to go out and find musicians that played guitar, bass, electric guitar specifically, and that's really what shaped me into like kind of exploring more of the rock genre.
You're so full of it, you're so full of it, full of it. No, we can't be friends again. You're a chance, but I'm over it. You're so full of it, you're so full of it, full of it. No, we can't be friends again. You're a chance, but I'm over it.
You don't see a lot of Abashas pursuing rock in that sense, so that's pretty unique.
I've seen a couple. I looked it up on YouTube. I've seen a couple.
For example, who?
I don't know the name, but if you go on YouTube and you look up Ethiopian rock, that's
Janoban.
Who?
Janoban?
Is that somebody? Is that the name?
Yeah, it's a group.
Yeah.
They're not together anymore. They're older. Yeah,
okay.
it's like I think 12 years
That's
ago.
like that's the only one I could find, and I think just in general, rock is like created by Africans. So to me, it's like as a whole. So I feel like right now, when you go and you look on the playlist or YouTube, you're gonna see primarily white artists, and that's fine. But I feel like Africans as a whole should definitely kind of be more exploratory outside of just hip hop and R&B and
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, I heard your background, your family's very religious.
Yes.
Very religious, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't allow I guess, to certain kinds of music.
Yeah.
And you were just kind of writing in your diary.
Yeah.
And that turned into sort of turning that into lyrics, and then you got into music. What was that like growing up in a religious family and becoming or getting to where you are today?
So my mom grew up like in Warabe, which is like very just farmland. You know, they don't really have electricity. They, you know, they don't have, from when she was there, they didn't have running water. So I feel like in her head, she grew up very sheltered. So she felt like she could apply that, you know, just out of protection, try to apply that to us in America, which it doesn't work, because in America, regardless of if you want your kids to listen to music or not, there's gonna be music at the mall, at the store, on the TV shows. And I feel like as much as she tried to stop it, even at school, you know, there's music classes, you're required to learn an instrument, and it's like, she can't go to the school and say, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna fail the class. So I feel like even though I grew up in a house where it was very restricted, she also didn't even allow Ethiopian music. Even like I had my stepdad, he was kind of loved music, and he loved Bob Marley and Tupac, and like he'd drive us to school and he'd play in the car, and Teddy Afro. So that's how I know some stuff. But other than that, she definitely was like, you know, she just, you know, out of protection, she just like, I don't want you guys to listen to the wrong music and get influenced.
Gotcha.
You know, she wanted to bring more of like a Islamic influence to us in America, yeah.
So how did you navigate all that and where you are today? Well, how does your family feel now?
I just didn't listen. Like I would just be like, I don't care. Like I'm gonna, you know, and I feel like you have more freedom in America to say, I don't care, and I'm gonna go do it. Even when I was 14, I started posting covers, and I'd get recognized by the artists that I was covering. Like back in the day, it was on Twitter, it was so much easier. You'd post a cover and you tag them. And I had multiple artists like Alessia Cara. I had done a cover of the Neighborhood, and like, you know, they'd like the tweet or they'd like repost it, and I'm like, wow, this, you know, it was like little signs to keep going. But when I was doing that, I definitely had got like phone calls from family members like, hey, like, do you know what your daughter's doing? And my mom would be like, you know, stop, you know, you're embarrassing me. But I'm like, I felt deep down, like, regardless, I didn't care what people said. I was a very like I didn't really let people's opinions dictate my life. So it was natural for me to just push through that. So
then let's go back to your mom, who made that trip to America and gave birth to you there.
Yeah.
What was that trip like? Like, I'm sure it was a sacrifice on her part.
It was. My mom, she didn't want to come to America, actually. So she got married when she was like 14 years old. And right away when she got married, like the moment she had my older brother, her husband passed away. And basically she just, you know, it's like she's young. Like, I think the tradition at the time was like, if your husband passes away, you marry the brother. Like in where she was from, that's what she told me. And she didn't want to do that because she was like kind of heartbroken. I think she really loved her husband at the time. And her sister actually was the one, she had, I think there was some like religious persecution happening to their tribe at the time. And
really? Here?
Yeah, like in the
Gurage?
Yeah, and I don't know what they were doing, but it might have been within each other, but because, you know, Gurage is like separate, multiple different religions within. But so her sister fled to Djibouti to go try to get, you know, a chance, the refugee camp in Djibouti. And so the moment she found out that my mom, you know, was now widowed, she told her to just come, you know, she was pregnant. And she just basically, my mom, she didn't really like, I feel like my aunt, she actually passed away a couple of years ago, but at the time I think she was more strong about coming to America because she kind of knew a little bit more, and she's older than my mom, and my mom was like, she kind of heard bad things like, you know, in America, like, they're not really religious, or they're not, you know, following, you know, the kids become crazy. She's heard things, and so she actually wanted to go to like Saudi, she wanted to be in a Muslim country. And her sister was like, no, you have to come. They needed 2 more people. You know how they like, they needed 2 more people to come, so it was perfect timing. And then she went, and they all went together.
Can you imagine how your life would have been so different?
I know.
If you went to Saudi?
The thing is, like, she could have, my mom has like 14 sisters.
Wow.
From 2 parents. So I feel like she could have chose any of those sisters to bring with her. Like anybody, like she needed my aunt, she needed another person to come. She could have chose any of those 14 sisters. And I always think about like, if it wasn't my mom, like I'd be in Ethiopia right now, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's something I think about a lot. Yeah, especially like since she passed away, like I visit her grave a lot, and I'm just very grateful for her, like my mom's sister, for just considering, you know, bringing us. And yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it's
your
okay.
Your aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was from the beginning. It was almost written, your destiny, that you were supposed to be born in America and pursue this career and be where you are today.
Yeah.
So she moves to Arizona. That's where you're born. Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. There's a lot of Habashas in Chicago, so I think that's why they went there first. But it's so cold. It snows like so much. And I feel like when you come from Ethiopia and it's like, you know, there's rain, like, and it gets cold sometimes, but she couldn't do it. And also, like, I think there was like some breathing problems I had, and she was like, I can't. And Arizona's climate is very similar to Ethiopia.
Let's go back and then move to Arizona, and then the music starts to blossom, and you start getting to music, and your mom was slowly accepting?
No, she still doesn't.
She still doesn't?
She never heard one of my songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Has that caused a little bit of a strain between your relationship with her? I mean, it's such a big, this is your passion and your love. Or you're okay with it? You're just like, nah, I get it.
I love it, honestly. Yeah.
Does that
I love the separation. Yeah, I'm like I like to keep these compartmentalized things. So I think it's like I said, it's like that's, you know, the home, and I'm, you know, Rahima, and then I go to, you know, LA, and I'm Alemeda, and I like the change, yeah. Is
that also why she was like, okay, we're gonna move back to Ethiopia?
It's crazy, but you know, I feel like if there's one thing I learned between me and my mom's relationship is, if you have kids, you have to do reverse psychology. If you like go against something and you know what I mean? You can't do this, they're gonna do it, and they're gonna want to do it more. And like, I didn't listen. So to me, it's ever.
You were rebellious?
Yeah. But when somebody, I feel like when you're like me and you're rebellious, like control just makes you want to rebel harder. So it's like.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Let me ask this. What's your style? I see you're all in black today. You know, what's your influence? What's your style? Like Alemeda.
It's kind of like, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think it's like, it changes. Sometimes, like, you know, I dress like fancy, and then sometimes it's like, I would say my main style is very tomboyish. Like it's like skater boy, like I skateboard too, so I think it's like, I don't like to wear heels, like I like to do makeup and hair, but it's just like when it comes to clothes, I think I prefer comfortability. Yeah, but I don't really feel myself when I'm dressed up. Like it's fun, you know, when you're going to like a wedding or something like that, but in terms of my personal style as an artist, I think it's more chill and more just tomboyish. Even like when I perform, like I tried different clothing and different styles, and like, you know, like high heels like this high, or like sneakers, and I just realized like, it's like when I perform, if I don't dress the way I actually want to dress, it's gonna show even in like my nervousness of like
100%.
Yeah, my comfortability. So yeah, I definitely want to be comfortable.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your influences in music.
Growing up, because I didn't listen to a lot of music, so you know, it'd be like stuff I hear on the radio. So it was a lot of pop music, because that's what they play mostly, and like it wasn't too much hip hop, it wasn't too much R&B, but it was more like Avril Lavigne and like Katy Perry, Rihanna, like, and then when I went to school, I had met these like, let's say these white people, and they basically put me on to like all these rock bands, and I was like, Arctic Monkeys and The Neighborhood and Coldplay. That's my favorite artist. But I feel like just when you grow up in like the 2000s in America, I feel like it was heavily like alternative and rock. Like that's what it was, pop punk. And even on the shows you're watching, like every show, Disney Channel, like it was like Hannah Montana and Camp Rock and all these shows, they were all rock. So I feel like
Pop-ish rock. Yeah,
like it's called pop punk.
Pop punk.
Yeah,
okay.
But or they like even Hannah Montana was like country rock, which I also love country rock. But I feel like it's that influenced, because I didn't listen to music, like whatever I did listen to on TV shows or something was what really just influenced me. And it also shows, I feel like, in my music too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know, now music is completely changing, especially the world is kind of shifting its eyes towards Africa now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of rising stars, especially Nigeria with AFR Beats is taking over. Some of the biggest stars are being, you know, coming out of there. You
know what? I started listening to Afro Beats very young. Like when I was 11, 12. I had I had a lot of Somali friends, and Somali people love Afro Beats. That's like a thing. And I always thought that. I always wondered, like, before Afro Beats popped off, I was like, I used to get made fun of. Like my cousins would be like, turn that African music off, like, because they were listening to rap, so they were like, bro, turn that shit off. But
it hadn't like caught up yet.
It didn't, because it wasn't English, first of all. Like, I listened to a lot of WizKid, like they were talking about yesterday at the panel, like the Marvin records. I listened to every single artist on Marvin records. It was Don Jazzy, it was Tiwa Savage, and it wasn't English, and I didn't understand it like at all. But it was the feeling, and they were saying also too, like, how it doesn't have to be in English for you to like it. In general, like I can see myself definitely putting some, because Sudanese is Arabic, so like Arabic influence, which I love Sudanese music and I love Ethiopian music, but I don't know if I...
You do like Ethiopian music?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I'm like currently on a discovery. I'm making a playlist right now, and I'm like, I know almost every Teddy Afro song, but other than that, I'm like, even like Ethiopian jazz, like I play that literally every day. So I think that I could see it, but in terms of like right now, I feel like I need to educate myself more on the music to be able to see like whether it would be, you know, sampling it into the beat or just, you know, actually doing an interpolation and like re-singing a song that was already there. But yeah, I definitely want to do it. I feel like it's important for me to try to do something like that at least. I feel like I'm trying to keep my music in the alternative rock realm. And if I can find like, if there is, I don't know if you know any, but if there is any Habesha artists right now in Ethiopia that are doing that, I would love to.
His name is Diba Kulu. You can look him up, and we actually produced an album.
Really?
For him, yes.
Recently or like
recently?
Oh wow!
We produced a full album. You can check it out. It's on YouTube,
how do you
Spotify.
Say it? What was the name?
The name is Yetu Garne.
Oh, Yetu Garne.
Where you at?
Okay.
That's the title. Where you at? And that was his first solo album after he left Jano Band.
Okay.
So we produced that under our label.
That's a fire title.
Yeah. So he's a little more into the rock, but you know, there's artists like Rofnan, which you probably might have heard of, but he's actually big, kind of alternative EDM. Okay. Slightly some rock, I would say. Yeah. You know.
Okay.
So
I definitely need to listen to.
Yes, you gotta listen. So let's get into the music. In Spotify, your music, I'm gonna bleach my eyebrows.
Yeah. Was
streamed 10 million?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Really, that's just amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's, I love it. Tell me about that, like, what was that like?
It was one of the first songs I made that was like, kind of showed me what kind of music I wanted to make. Like, it felt good. Like, for once, like, before I would make music and I'd hide it. Like, I'd be like, don't listen to it. I was scared. Like, but this one I was like, kind of like excited to show people. Like, look what I did. I helped produce it. I like mostly directed the producing, and I had a lot of influence. That song specifically had a lot of influence from an artist named Pink Panthers. It's like the same sound. The genre is called drum and bass. Okay. Yeah, and it's like just quick drums, like just very, you know, very quick drums. And I think that that song, like that was the first song that I went on TikTok when TikTok was first starting out, and it was like, people didn't know whether TikTok was going to really influence any industry, but now it's like, you know, like the whole music industry runs on TikTok now, and I think that, you know, I was on there and I was posting that song for 8 months every day. Wow. Yeah, it took a long time. Like, it's a very inclusive app, but it's also very hard to break into the algorithm at the time. I think it's easier now, but it just, like I told myself, you know, like I believe in this song, and I think that if I can get enough people to hear it, it could be shared and it could be a little more global. And I was posting it every day. I would get ready, I'd do my hair, do my makeup, hop on TikTok, and just like, I would sing. I would also just say like, hey guys, like I made this song, you know, and I feel like it's like a fun song in terms of the production, but the lyrics are very like, they're kind of sad, like they're deep, and it's about, you know, loving yourself and like not letting, like whether it's a guy or your friend or anyone, just like dictate how much you love yourself. You know what I mean? It should be all on you. And I wrote that song out of like my own experience. And I think that that song doing well, like it did well, it kind of blew up a little on TikTok. And that's what got it like more recognition. And it kind of gave me like a little, like a fire to kind of be like, wow, like I have a song that people could like, that I wrote and I, you know, produced. And it's like, it just gave me more, you know, more of a boost and more hope for like future songs. Cause I feel like the biggest thing a lot of artists deal with is self-doubt and feeling like, you know, embarrassed or feeling like, am I actually making good stuff? Like, especially when you do your own stuff. You know, a lot of people, they get songs written for them, but when you write your own stuff, I feel like that's when you're the most insecure, even though that's the most talented you can be. But it's like, you know, you just feel like it's like, so your baby. You're just like, I don't know how the world is gonna feel about it, and how's that gonna make me feel if they don't like it, and you think about that. But it's like, I think that it definitely, that song definitely just showed me, you know, that I was capable of doing it.
Tell us the name of your channel. Is it?
Oh, yeah, no, the channel is called, it's just my name, Alemeda, Alemeda, and I currently have 3 music videos out for 3 songs. But yeah, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere, honestly.
What's next? Are you working on new music? Are you working on an album? What's going on?
Yes, I actually finished my EP recently. It's just currently, you know, just the last minute, getting mixed and mastered and everything, but yeah, I'm working on my EP, and I just finished my EP, and now into this new year, I'm gonna start working on my album. My EP is just, it's the same thing where it's like rock and kind of like beachy rock influence. There's also like country rock. It's just different variations of rock. I didn't want to just do pop punk. I have a pop punk song on there too, but I wanted to do every type of rock because I feel like I get tired easily. I mean, bored. Like, I get annoyed. I'm like, okay, we already did 10 songs like this. Like, let's venture out. And I'll just make sure like I'm constantly teaching myself other music genres so I could try to find a way to blend it and not make everything feel repetitive. But yeah, I feel like this album has like, it's no features. It's just very personal. It's like fun, and it's just more of a representation of me because I like produced and wrote the whole thing, and I had help with like from other musicians, but I made sure I was very hands-on and I controlled everything about it. But the album that I'm working on now, I hopefully will get some features. I would love to get, you know, some Habesha artists on there. But yeah, I think collaborating is going to be my next step.
Who would you want to collaborate with working today that you feel is hot?
Yeah, no, I have a list, but I think if I had to choose like 3 that resonate with like, because I like people, I love their music, and because I can love someone and not really want to work with them. But there's some people I'm like, okay, I have to work with them. But there's an artist named Dominic Fike. Are you familiar?
No.
Yeah, he's really good. You should look him up.
Okay.
There's an artist.
What kind of is he? What genre?
It's also
rock?
like rock. Yeah.
Okay.
There's an artist. He also raps too. He raps on like rock instrumentals. It's different. There's an artist named Biba Doobie. She's also rock. She's like an Asian British artist.
You're like introducing me to all this new artists.
I'm like tapped into like
wow.
the up and coming for sure. And there's like Pink Panthers I was saying earlier.
You were saying.
These are like more like kind of up and coming, but like obviously, you know, I'm trying to work with bigger artists. Hopefully, the future, The Weeknd.
You're listening. I did.
But I think that. Yeah, I definitely want to work with, I don't know who else, like Arctic Monkeys, Coldplay, even though that's like, they're like huge, but I think I'm gonna try to believe that I can.
I think you can too, because I mean, what you achieved is no simple task. I mean, 10 million streams, you know what I mean? That's huge. So
that's a lot,
you're young, you're upcoming, so they're definitely gonna be like, okay, I could, you know. I know that Drake did that with The Weeknd, right? Like
Yeah.
he did kind of help him out and just featured him and
Yeah,
things like that,
they
right?
have music together, yeah.
They have music together. So no, I mean, it can definitely be done. Do you see in the future maybe even doing a show out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, performing?
I'm performing with Brahana, like as an opening act, but like, yeah, I would love to.
Oh yeah, at the Gaslight.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, J-Beck, I don't know, he,
Yeah,
shout out J-Beck, he set that up. But
he set that up, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jada Man.
But yeah, no, I think like my number one goal this year as like, because I feel like I figured out my sound, I figured out what I wanted, you know, that was the hardest part. And I feel like moving forward, it's about like garnering an audience. And I feel like more than ever, I really want like at least 60% of my audience to be Habeshas. Like I did shows where like, I did a tour recently, I hopped on a tour and there were shows where there were like, the whole front row was just a whole bunch of either like Eritreans or Ethiopians and they had the Ethiopian flag on their phone and they were just waving it. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
That is awesome,
yeah,
that is awesome.
And it made me so, I was singing, I started laughing, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this is crazy. And I think it just made me really happy because like I said, like when I started doing music in the beginning, I didn't get a lot of support from the Ethiopian community. Yeah, and now it's like,
it takes time,
yeah,
you know, for the word to get out and to hear your music. And
I also wasn't that great when I started, so I feel like I'm not even mad that they didn't support. I'm like, okay, like I wasn't as good as I am now, so I feel like people can see that, and I feel yeah, like my goal is to make sure I'm very tapped in with both here and in America, just the Ethiopian and Eritrean.
That's fantastic.
Just East Africans in general.
For sure, for sure. What's you know, you're so talented. What's your process like, you know, for you to get there to where you've gotten here? I mean, what's the discipline that you go through and, you know?
I have no discipline.
You have no discipline?
No discipline.
Come on, I'm sure there is some discipline.
I have moments where I'm like, I gotta do this, and I'll have like this energy, but then other than that, I'm like, I definitely, like, I feel like I work hard. That's one thing I do for sure. I'm always in the studio. I'm like, every day, I take a time out of every single day that even if I'm resting, to kind of like figure out a way to, you know, whether it's just as small as posting a TikTok about my music or, you know, networking and doing performances. But I feel like it's definitely just kind of, well, obviously having a team definitely helps. But I feel like
yeah, you have a great team. I see them in the audience. They're amazing. Shout out to the team. Also, tell us, you're here with very, looks like talented, sophisticated camera crew, and they're doing like a little documentary, and you kind of documenting your progress and your life. Tell us about that. What's going on with the camera crew and all this stuff? Yeah,
we are currently shooting a documentary as kind of like where I came from, you know, like how we were saying earlier, like I was very close to not being like born in America and having this opportunity. So just showing like how rare that was and how, I mean, it happens to a lot of people, but not, obviously it's not easy. And I feel like it's just to give the background, because there isn't a lot, like, there's a lot of Habeshas in the industry, but there isn't as much as I would want to be. And I feel like people don't really show the before, and honestly, I feel like our stories are very interesting. Like, all of our parents have separate journeys, and it comes on to us, and then we have a unique experience growing up in America that nobody else has. And I feel like it's basically, we're trying to just capture that and capture, you know, where I come from, my culture. Like you said earlier, like everybody's kind of currently being more, you know, open to Africa and its music and what it has to offer. So we're doing that, and it's also just to, you know, like I said, my EP is dropping, and I'm also signed to 2 labels, Warner Music and TDE. Okay. And I'm gonna be getting announced soon, so we're just doing this as like an introduction kind of thing. That's of like, awesome. This is who Alemeda is.
So, you know, you're working on your album. What do you see is the ultimate future for Alemeda? Like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I hope to like really just have like the outreach that I want, the audience that I want. I want to just, you know, learn more instruments, learn more. I'm teaching, like I said, I can produce, but I want to be better. I want to like perfect every craft, and just, I feel like that'll just make my music better. But like, I don't really have goals in terms of like, oh, I want this award, or, because none of it really matters, especially I feel like as a collective in the industry, we all know that most of the award shows, like, they're not the most inclusive, and it doesn't really dictate how talented you are. Like, you'll see somebody very talented, like the guy I said earlier, a lot of the artists I said earlier, but none of them are, you know what I mean? It's just, but they do have huge fan bases, and they have huge impact and outreach, and I feel like that's more important. And like, I really, my goal for the next, I just really want to have, I just want to be able to tour the world. That's in my opinion. Like, I want to go to every country and just be like, wow, people in Sweden, people in Ethiopia, people in, I don't know, Brazil, like that makes me happy when I see that. To me, that's just the most, like, it really, yeah, like, I don't really feel things sometimes, but when I see that, I'm like, wow, like, that's
awesome. So, interesting thing though, you were on a billboard in Times Square by Spotify as one of the new freshest finds. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh my God, what was that like, seeing yourself on a billboard, like in Times Square?
It was crazy. I've always like when it happened, I'm not gonna lie, like, I felt nothing. I was like shocked. I was just like, wow. And then like a year later, I was like, wow. I was like, that was crazy. I was like, yeah, that was. I was like, I wasn't, like, cause I went to New York too, and I was like, I was right there. Like, I was standing in front of, I should have flew out here. I should have took a picture in front of it, but I think I'll have a chance in the future to do it. But I think it was very surreal. It was crazy. I think everyone around me was way more excited than I was, and that's what made me feel like, damn, like, this is kind of like a big deal. Not that I didn't think it was, I just was like, whoa, like, I didn't see it in person, so it was kind of harder to like take in, but yeah.
When was this exactly?
This was like about a year ago. Wow. Yeah, about a year and a half ago. Yeah.
That is crazy. Congratulations.
Crazy. Thank you.
And I'm sure there's going to be much more. Definitely. Now, I want to ask you, when you think rock, you're really thinking more of like the white kind of crowd and stuff like that. And you don't see a lot of black people kind of playing or in that world of rock, right? And you, Ethiopian-Sudanese background, black woman in rock, what is that like? Because that is very unique, and it's not something anyone would expect, because people will say, hey, she's more, I see hip-hop, R&B, and I'm sure that happens. So what is that like?
It's like, it's definitely, you know, when you're doing something that I feel like there's a couple people doing, I'm not gonna say I'm the only one, but you're like, for example, there's an artist named Willow Smith. She was one, I think she was one of— Will Smith's daughter. Yeah. Yeah, and she was one of the people that really started the recent trend of like kind of being like less sticking to hip hop and R&B, but I feel like with me, I was doing it around the same time. Like, I was in the studio, I hadn't released the music yet, but I felt like it was kind of it's a scary thing, because it's like, obviously people are gonna be like, rock, like, okay, like, you know what I mean? It's not like the most popular genre in the black community or just the African community in general, and I think that it's scary, but then it's also like, you feel like a sense of just like, like excitement, because you're just like, damn, like, this is really something that not a lot of people are doing, and it could honestly be the reason it gets more of like a, like, you know what I mean, like an interest.
Yes, for sure.
And I think obviously, like, I walk into meetings, or I go into certain areas, or just even when I'm doing just like a performance where I'm opening up for another artist, I think they assume I'm about to, like, you know, go Destiny's Child and just like, you know what I mean, or start, you know, rapping, and it's like, you know, I think that it's like a shock factor, and people just be like, whoa, like, I didn't expect you to do that. And it's like, yeah, I think it does discourage me sometimes too, because it's like, I constantly get, you know, R&B, like, and it's like, that's fine, you know what I mean? But in a way, it's like—
Which it wouldn't be that way if it was a white person.
It wouldn't, genuinely. Like, there's white people that do R&B and then they call them like pop. And I'm like, that's literally R&B, but it's cool, you know what I mean? All I can do is just, you know, be myself and just hope that it changes. And yeah, I think that with that, it's more just of it's kind of an ignorance, but it's also just, there's not enough of it for people to be like, oh yeah, there's a possibility she's not an R&B artist. So I feel like that's the job of like this whole new crowd of African people and black people in America, of just kind of being like, we're doing something different. And it's really, it's amazing. There's a lot of great music coming out of it, because rock is started by black people. It's started by Africans, and it came from us.
Yeah.
And it was, I feel like it was taken and appreciated to an extent by white people.
Well, they say that even as a whole, music was from sort of kind of like from this region.
Almost every single genre was, it was from Africans. And I think that there should be no reason why we should be sticking to two genres. We should be the face of every genre, because we started every genre. Yeah.
I like that. Two young women watching this, aspiring to be singers, you know, definitely be tenacious. But what's your advice? What would you advice would you give young aspiring artists?
I say go in those rooms and run them. Don't be scared. Just go in those rooms and, you know, make sure you go in like, no, you know, like the best thing you could do is educate yourself and try to perfect everything you're doing, because I feel like when you're a woman, there's a slight disadvantage. Like people kind of assume you're not gonna be as great or talented as a man, but I feel like, you know, you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to just exude that energy so everyone around you could believe in it too. Yeah. So
how do people reach out to you if they want to find you?
I mean, I'm on all social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and I mean, I also have my email in my bio, so if people want to reach out and ask me questions, I'm definitely checking the email. So I feel like you could just, my name on all my social media platforms is Alemeda, A-L-E-M-E-D-A. And I have to spell it because Alemeda is like a street all over America, and everybody spells it A-L-A, but I'm like, it's A-L-E. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We wish you good luck in everything that you do, and we're going to be following.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey guys, that's it for our show. Thank you for watching DinkTv. Make sure you subscribe to all our socials, and thank you, and see you next time. Peace.